The evidence seems to indicate that you're watching Dolly Vision.
Jack on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby missing shadows crawl? People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, there's no route down known. Dolly Vision headlines, King the Beat. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light. Top it up, Dolly Vision's dreaming real. True crime scene blast feels so unreal. YouTube madness like share, subscribe. Jack's on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby missing shadows crawl? People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, King the Beat. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light.
What's up, YouTube? It is Dolly back in the house. And tonight, we got some very special guests with us. We got Sonny and Charmaine from It's Crime and Shame. It's a crime and shame. Okay, so if you're here, make sure you leave your DNA on that like button, just in case you go missing in the hills of Tennessee or in the deep woods of Nova Scotia. We can come find you. Also, if you're brand new, make sure you sub up, ring the bell for notifications, and of course, feel free to share my face on any social media platform you choose. So tonight, we're going to be talking about Jack and Lily Sullivan, two little kids that went missing out of Nova Scotia, I believe May 2nd, and they were home alone with their mom and stepdad, and they vanished without a trace. Okay, but let me give you my warnings first. Dolly Vision's for entertainment purposes only. We talk news, rumors, gossip, speculations, theories, mixed with a little bit of comedy and a whole lot of chaos. So don't take nothing as fact, just my opinion, people. We're not taking calls tonight because we have guests on the line with us. But remember, everyone is innocent to proven guilty in a court of law, even the people we're talking about here tonight. And the biggest one of them all, don't try to be Dolly at home, okay? It is extremely dangerous. Hello, Sonny. Hello, Charmaine. How are you ladies doing tonight?
Awesome. I'm loving being here tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Now, these kids missing out of Nova Scotia, big story, strange circumstances. The mom not acting right, not acting like your typical mother would act. Stepdad out there on the media going crazy, telling inconsistent stories, right? So this is a crazy one. The mystery and the rumors and the gossip and the people involved, it's a lot to it. So tonight we're going to go over that and, and discuss what we think is going on in the case. That sound good to you, ladies?
Sounds awesome. Yeah.
So, in the beginning, it seems like the story changed a little bit from what we hear going on today, right? Daniel said that they overslept. Him and Malaya were sleeping in the bed, and they woke up, and Jack and Lily were just gone. They slipped out the sliding glass door without a trace. And then slightly after that, the story sort of changed a little bit into, you know, Lily had came in the room a couple times and they heard Jack in the kitchen, and then they fell asleep and they woke up and the kids were gone, and he immediately sprung into action. Okay. Like Super Daniel. Do you want to add any to that?
Well, go ahead, Charmaine. Do you want to go first?
No, that's a pretty good recap rundown of the first few hours, but obviously a lot has changed since then. We found out a whole lot, kind of, sort of, because it's all over the place. About, I don't know, a dozen different stories for that very first few hours. So
yeah,
it's hard to weed out what's real, but I think there's a little bit of truth in everything that we've heard. It's up to us to put the puzzle pieces together. In a way,
the first time I noticed he was really, I hate to say lying, he basically was lying, is when you were discussing with him, you had text messaged him, and a lot of people at the time thought those text messages were fake, and his story had changed time he talked to you on those text messages, because he made it out like he didn't want to talk, that he didn't want to say nothing, but then he just kept talking to you.
Yeah, it was like he couldn't help himself. And when he first said that he didn't want to talk, he said, I understand. I don't blame you one little bit. But then he just kept on. And if you look at all of the messages, the only questions I asked him, because I was totally unprepared, the only questions I asked him were based on the information that he was just giving me. Like it put my mind, and I was texting Sonny in the background going, what do I do? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. What am I doing? It's crazy.
Yeah, and the thing about this is, usually when we see tragedies like this happen, it usually brings families closer, but this has completely broke them apart, and we got people pointing the fingers at each other. Malaya basically blaming Daniel, and Daniel basically blaming Malaya, and that's odd in a missing kid case that we got two of the parents pointing the fingers at each other.
Right away. Usually, I mean, it's not uncommon for families to split up over time when something like this happens, unfortunately. But for it to happen on day 2 and so abruptly and absolutely no contact, it is, to me, I've never heard of it. Have you, Sonny?
Well, what I was going to say there, I don't even believe Daniel actually has never been blaming Malaya. In fact, he thinks that she's innocent and that his wicked, evil mother-in-law is the fault of all this, and that it's all because of Cindy Murray that this has happened. So when you look at all those text messages, I mean, honestly, how many times can you put Malaya down and then say, baby, just remember the old Daniel, meet me underneath the waterfall again type of thing. The old Daniel, what? So obviously the old Daniel was the nicer, better Daniel, but this one maybe, and I'm just speculating here, but maybe it was the drug-free Daniel at the time, and who knows, according to Darren. Again, it's all speculation. But yeah, he's never really been blaming her. In fact, he's like, remember, even in the interview, that one interview, it's more been about, you guys stop.
Well, he ain't said that she unalived the kids, but he's saying that she handed those kids off. That she is responsible for the disappearance of the kids, not that she killed the kids, that she handed them off allegedly to somebody. But my biggest thing, Sonny and Charmaine, is why is he not telling the mainstream media that? He says that stuff on YouTube, but in the mainstream media, he's all, don't be mean to Malaya. Her mental health is so important. And, you know, I'm hearing this, now this may be some rumors, that she never lost custody of Meadow. She's had Meadow this whole time. That's what I'm hearing. I don't know if that's true.
That's what Belinda had said that. Oh, well, hold on.
Well,
go ahead, Jermaine.
Well, I know that there was a hearing for, and it's not because of Darren or Logan or anybody else, but somebody else in the family who's not in the public, who's not out here trying to push a narrative. Somebody that asked me not to be named, she told me straight out that there was a hearing, and I know who went to that hearing. And this person has no reason to believe they're not pushing either side of the narrative, right? They have no idea what happened.
Was it a
So-
hearing that so Daniel could see his child, or was it a hearing to take custody from Malaya?
From my understanding, it was temporary guardianship to discuss what happened next with the baby. Not just about Daniel's visitation, because he had visited Meadow before that under supervision. He had a visitation before that.
Now, when I'm talking about when, they were alleging that she was on the run. Remember when they said she was on the run, she went to the reservation, she's broke CPS orders by taking Meadow, and they took Meadow. Do we know if any of that is true?
It's honestly, it's out of Darren's mouth. Let's keep it real on that one. So you guys can take that for what it's worth. It seems like it is, to be honest with you, from what we do know, because like Charmaine has information behind the scenes. And again, allegedly, what was it, Charmaine? Allegedly, the chief has rented her a apartment now on the reservation.
She's renting an apartment off of the chief on that reservation.
And of course, the chief's brother just happens to be her lawyer. And they brought him in super fast. Like day 1, day 2, they brought the chief in.
That was a different chief, though.
Oh, okay.
That was like I can't think of his last name. I think his last name was Loard. That was a male chief. So that's different.
That was the one that showed up at the house with me.
Yeah. Because I noticed when Logan and even Malaya's stepsister said they were at the house, they said a chief was already there. And I was thinking, well, man, they reached out to the reservation awful fast before they even knew if the kids were going to be found or not.
Right. It's different. Like I said, I know, right? That's what I was thinking about that too. I think everyone, when, Belinda did a really great job. She's very good at speaking when she was on the live the one day and going over because about the day that she was there for the search, So, I really commend her on really she's just very honestly eloquent when she's speaking. She's just clear, and precise in what she's saying. And she was talking about that because I wanted to hear it from her perspective as well. Right. Because she obviously was there for 3 days of the search. Like I think it was the 3rd, 5th, and then the 18th. And so it was really nice to hear her take on what she saw, with Jamie and the dogs and whatever like that. But anyways.
In the condition of the house, because we seen the outside of the house. We all know the outside of the house was a shambles. That was clearly not the safest environment for small children to be playing. Wood and old broken stoves and just all kinds of stuff in that yard, but we had no clue of what the condition inside the house was. So when she came on your channel and she cleared that up, that the inside of the house was damn just as bad as the outside of the house, but what makes a person change that? Because we hear that Malaya was always clean, neat, the kids were well kept, and then we see her 19 months later, and the house is like looks like a crack house, and then the inside's messy. She looks kind of disheveled, but she can look disheveled because she's going through a traumatic situation. I can give her that, but she looks a lot different than the images we had seen of her prior.
Right.
And then just the whole lack of emotion. In their first interviews they gave, they basically said the same thing, that the kids were on the spectrum, that they would talk to anybody, and they would get in a vehicle with anybody. I found that to be scripted. I was like, they have discussed this. They have talked about this. What's the chances of two people saying the exact same thing?
Silent door.
Because it was like they were trying to take the blame off themselves. And they said that they were these hover parents that, the kids don't go outside without us. But you didn't wake up to check on the kids. You didn't wake up to see if Lily needed medicine. You didn't check to change Jack's diaper. You didn't cook them breakfast, right? But yet you're hover parents. And I just had a hard time believing anything they were saying.
Yeah. Go ahead, Charmaine.
No, absolutely. We've kind of picked that apart, obviously, because we don't have anything else from Malaya. So we've been watching that one interview and listening to every word she says, and then listening to everything that Daniel said since. You can, I mean, it's clear that those kids were able to go outside and play whenever they wanted to.
That's what I thought too.
You know, and maybe they could open that sliding glass door by themselves, but Daniel had said later on that he always had to tell them to close it again, but the door was closed that day. So, you know, there's a lot that just didn't add up to what they were saying.
Lies.
And then we seen the video of Lily, you know, on the birthday party video, and she had some lungs. Can that girl scream, boy? She can scream. And, you know, them kids, all natural, kids are loud. And you got Jamie right outside that back door in her little thin trailer, right? The walls are like paper, with a dog. And she didn't hear those kids in the yard. It seems like, you know, did everybody sleep in that day? And then, of course, Jamie not saying anything is kind of suspicious. And then we heard that she wouldn't let the police in her trailer because she didn't want her around the dogs. Now, I don't know if his mother has anything to do with it, but I believe if they have knowledge, she may have knowledge of what's going on. You know, everybody that was at that property, I believe, knows what's going on. And I hate to say bad things about Canada, but I think the RCMP has dropped the ball a little bit. Okay, not only dropped it, but kicked it over there to the pipeline. It's just. It's hard to have faith in them when we see, and you know, so many things that's so obvious to us that there's red flags, but they're not continuously interrogating Daniel and Malaya.
Dolly, can I clear something up that you said there? So don't forget that it went from Daniel telling Belinda that that Jamie didn't, and the dog, nothing happened, like she didn't wake up or nothing. Right. And then, you know what, you know, in the interview, I mean, you guys are clear on this one, that Malaya says, but we didn't know that till after that they were playing. Well, so remember how the story changed again, and that Janie then did hear the kids. She heard Lily scream or making her noise. And usually, well, according to Darren says that the dog always bites at Lily because of her scream. But anyways, so then it became that she did hear the children, and she heard Malaya from her trailer go shh, shh to the kids. And then next thing you know, this whole storyline again turns into that. I mean, I could go on with these lies that are going on, but then Janie all of a sudden comes out of her camper, even though Daniel said something different the first time. Now he's saying that Janie came out of the camper and saw Malaya and said, like, what have you done with the kids? Because that became another story on top of the other stories, remember? Because Daniel says that on an interview, he literally says that he comes out of the woods and that Malaya is on her phone.
Yeah.
Well, we already know in the text messages to Charmaine. My mom was napping, and she came out of the camper when I called for the children, that Malaya was on her phone, and she asked me, do I call 911? And he's like, basically like, F yeah, right? So again, that's another inconsistent story amongst the many. And then we have I could go on, but 8 o'clock, right? Obviously 10 o'clock, 9:48, the 911 call comes in. So where's this 20-minute time frame? Because Malaya says to Belinda in those text messages that 8 to 8:30 is when they last had heard the kids in the other room.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of bull crap is all.
And I thought the original story was that she, you know, it wasn't she was by the road. It was that Daniel's mom came out and Malaya was on her phone and she looked sneaky.
Yeah.
Right? Was the original story of, you know, she looked like she was up to something on her phone.
She got caught doing something wrong, was Daniel's exact words.
Yeah.
She got doing something wrong.
Yeah, but then now it's added to she was at the street and she may have gave the kids. It's slowly, the story slowly evolving to be
Yeah.
different. And you know, it's weird to see him kind of point the finger at her, but at the same time you can tell he's like a heartbroken guy that wants Malaya back because he thinks they still have a future together or something. And I truly believe this woman was looking for an exit. You know, so she was with her last guy for 3 years, and since she was with Daniel for 3 years, she may be on that 3-year pattern, you know.
There was somebody between Cody, Belinda said that. So there was Cody, and then that relationship ended. She went and she moved in with her grandmother, which would be Patty. And then she went and lived with Patty, but there was another person in between that she was seeing, and then it was Daniel. Yeah.
And okay, so we know they've been telling, well, at least Daniel has been telling all kind of inconsistent stories, right? So now, I mean, the thing is, I guess this pink blanket, okay, the pink blanket that was in the trash now is in the tree. And my whole thing has been this: how do we know the pink blanket was even in the trash? Because we know that from Daniel. Right. And if he's lying about everything else, how do we know he's not lying about the pink blankets?
Mm-hmm.
The pink blanket. And another thing that I found super strange, and this is the one that sent chills up my spine, is when he said that Malaya came and took those 2 sweaters, and he hopes that when they find the kids, the sweaters are not there. To me, it sounds like these kids were taken out of that house wrapped up in some sweaters. It's kind of the impression I got, and they're his sweaters.
And then they turned to T-shirts. Don't forget.
I didn't know they turned to T-shirts. The last I heard they were sweaters, but now they're T-shirts.
Yeah, but I mean, Dolly, there's a particular part on my live where Darren is called in, and he talks about the blanket, and and you know what? Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and throw shade at Darren. I think that he believes, like you said, that he believes what he believes. I don't believe it to be true myself. So now, when he was speaking on our channel, he had did this whole blurb about the sweaters and the pink blanket, and all it was like listening to was, well, Daniel lied about the blanket because he didn't want it to look suspicious. You know, if the RCMP basically as if it was a setup, as if Malaya's side of the family had set him up. Same with the sweaters. So as you're listening to this, all you're hearing is, well, Daniel said he had to lie for this reason because, you know, he lied at first about the blanket and then admitted to it. So clutch them pearls. You need to get that right on there because he said he didn't. Of course, he denied that blanket was the children, but he had said, no, I don't see that anywhere. No, he did. So that's fact. He did. And then he said, like I said, changed it. But when you're listening to it, it's just, you know, like when somebody's justifying and then there's so many justifications about the RCMP thinking that he had something to do with it, let alone the fact that the RCMP literally told him, Jordan, that they think that he's the guy, you know?
Yeah. And the thing I found odd about the blanket being in so far from the house, like this is say the blanket fell out the trash, wind blew it into the trees, but would it blow it a mile down the street into a tree next to an ATV path? You know, like I don't think the wind's going to do that.
And you know that, so Earl Martell, his father, lives right up that line, right? Like his house is literally down from Daniel's house. And so basically where that pink blanket is, it's just before Earl Martell's house. Not to say that anything about Earl Martell, he's guy, you know, that freaked out on that TikToker. You guys don't remember that, right? But anyways, so it's just a little bit before that. So this reminds me, Dolly, did you ever follow Suzanne Morphew case?
No.
So that's when you plant, you go this way, but really you should be looking the other way.
Yeah.
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 That's what it reminds me of Suzanne.
Look over here while I do something over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you believe that blanket may have been planted to make the RCMP believe those kids are in those woods?
I do. Do you, Charmaine?
100%. I mean, there's a reason why Daniel was so comfortable running out to those woods every single day, searching through
Yeah, I
waste
think
water and, you know, almost being impaled and dying. And there's a reason why he was so comfortable sharing that information, because he knew there was nothing out there.
now I live in a wooded area and I know these woods better than anybody, you know, and I believe the same thing for him. He lives in those woods. He knows those woods better than anybody because they've been riding his four-wheeler up and down these trails or been back in those woods. So they're going to know these woods better than the RCMP. They're going to know these woods better than the searchers. And they did have that full clean ass four-wheeler, you know, cleaner than their cars, cleaner than the house. And a lot of people in here have been believing that, hey, they may have put these kids on the back of this four-wheeler and took them somewhere. Now, far as these kids being at a reservation and, you know, they've been handed off and then handed off, I just have a hard time believing that, because why? There's really no motive to hide these children for the people that believe these kids are on a reservation or they've been hidden. Can you think of any reason they would want to hide these kids?
Not just a motive to hide them, but an end game, like a goal to it. Like, how long are they going to let this go? And how long until somebody breaks? Because you can't tell me only Malaya knows, or only one or two people know. Somebody threw at me the other day that they could be out in the middle of nowhere with two people. Okay, so nobody has seen the kids. They're still gonna maybe possibly need a doctor, need a dentist, need, you know, some kind of education. Like, what is their end game with this big secret? It doesn't make sense. At its core, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, is there a plan to bring them back one day? They're just going to magically reappear? So I have a hard time with that whole thing that, you know, Darren was out here pushing, that she's handing them off to somebody, and I just don't believe that. And I don't know if they went missing that morning or if they went missing sometime that night when they were near that mall next to the Proudfoot hardware store, which is crazy coincidental that you brought up to me earlier, Sonny, that it was that there's a place called Proudfoot Hardware. And I was like, wow, you know, because this has a lot of similarities in the Sebastian Rogers case. And then you got a place up there called Proudfoot Hardware. And I was just like, you know, it seems like they took a playbook from Katie Proudfoot, especially Malaya, when she gave the one interview, and then she just, I hate to say it, Joe Dirty left. You know, what if they would have found the kid? She's done gone. She packed up, left her car, left her clothes, left all her shit, and just said, deuces, I'm out. And that is huge red flag to most of my viewers, because most of my viewers are grandmothers, mothers, and they say, hey, I'd never do this. And even as a father, you know, I have a daughter, I would never do that. I couldn't pack up and leave my kid. Even if I didn't like Daniel and his mother, I would deal with them until I found answers with my kid, and then I'd leave.
You know, the thing that strikes me there, Dolly, is this is where I think the lying and the storytelling is coming from in the scripted, is that they obviously, I believe, in my opinion, is that that they both have some answers to what happened to Jack and Lily, because everything that she's kind of doing, in a sense, is, remember, the family from Malaya's side is accusing Daniel of having something to do with it. Remember, she leaves that press conference, whatever, the ambulance, she's having an anxiety attack, whatever, and then she can't even, according to Daniel, right, that she can't even look at him. And so to me, this is like, shows me like the scriptedness of that interview to Daniel's was strikingly, to me, trying to mimic each other, that they came up with a lie, that something happened with the children. And I'm going to, in my opinion, is going to say something to do with drugs. If I was at the point right now of the information, that's what I would think. And so for anyone that does think differently, that's perfectly fine. But, you know, the more that they talk, the more that stuff comes out, and the more the inconsistencies show up. But she's portrayed, at least from Malaya's side, right, that she's portrayed almost like that she already knows what happens to the kids. and that's why the family's blaming, and that she knows that they're probably not coming back. And she's, again, so she's hiding in it. Well, some people don't like the word hiding, whatever. She went to mama's house, okay? To her mama, Cindy's there. Obviously, she's not using her Facebook or anything like that, besides going on it to take pictures of Daniel down and to make Marcus office single and add people. Now, she told Belinda that she 100%, of course, believes that the RCMP are going to solve this. Again, I think that they're just both full of it and that the truth will come out. But I do believe that those children are not alive myself. Belinda doesn't believe that they're alive either. And it's just a matter of, I think that the fact that they're hidden is wishful thinking on our part, because we know from following true crime, and you know this too, Dolly, that's usually not the outcome that's going to happen. Is that are hidden.
One thing that's got me confused, which I find really odd, is they took the time to script the story, okay, and then they turn on each other, right? But is it one of those situations where if one person tells, they both go to prison, so that when she split, she knew he wasn't going to talk, because if he talks, he goes down right beside her, right, is the only thing that could make logical sense to me. Because usually when people script a story, they stick together, and they haven't. That one makes me think, well, did one of them do it and the other one has no knowledge of it? But that would be so hard to pull off, to where one person did it and the other person's laying there asleep and has no clue to what happened.
They ain't that bright, Dolly.
And then, even let's just say Daniel did do it. Let's say Daniel's the culprit, just hypothetically. Don't you think Malaya would be acting different? You know, because if you hurt my kid, I would want to hurt you. You know, where's her rage that you would think you would get from a mama bear, right? It's just not there. And these are huge red flags. And if the whole internet can see it, like there's 746 of us here. If the whole internet can see, hey, this has something to do with the family, and this is, even if they're alive or dead, it's behind the family. The kids ain't in the woods. They haven't been abducted. Why is the RCMP not seeing it? Or are they, and they just don't have the evidence they need to make an arrest? What's your thought?
Go ahead.
To me, I mean, I do think it's totally possible that something happened during the night, and Malaya could be clueless about what actually happened, but could have her suspicions. No excuse for the crickets, absolute silence, no posting on her Facebook, no nothing. Like, I don't understand that part, but I think it's perfectly reasonable to suspect that something happened during the night. Daniel, I don't like this. My bad. I'm not blaming you, Daniel. I'm not. But if something happened through the night and whoever was responsible had help by other close family members, it could have been pulled off, especially if there were drugs, depression, fatigue, like an argument that supposedly happened the night before. All of that could have played into a deep sleep. Because to me, now Daniel's story has changed, I don't even know how many times, about we woke up and he said, I noticed I didn't hear the kids. So I said, do you hear the kids? Malaya said, I asked my partner, Daniel, do you hear the kids? And then it turned into Malaya. I think Malaya just got back to bed as I was waking up in the morning. And then it was Malaya was sound asleep when you know what I mean? Like, that's changed so many times. I personally think, speculation, that Daniel was up for whatever reason and stuff happened and he went back to bed and he told Malaya in the morning, Lily popped her head in a few times. I heard them playing in the next room. And to me, her interview was more like her trying to remember what Daniel had told her rather than recollecting her own memory and what she heard, if she heard Jack and Lily playing in the next room. I don't buy that. I think Daniel said, I heard them playing in the next room. I think Daniel said, well, Lily popped her head in a few times, but I don't think it ever happened.
Yeah. One thing I noticed is they never mention, they start from the day they go missing, but they don't never say, well, we got home, we cooked the kids dinner, we gave them a bath, we put them to bed, brushed their teeth, told them a bedtime story. They don't tell anything prior to the kids going missing. It's like the story starts right there at the moment they wake up and these kids are gone.
8 o'clock.
But we got Lily that's allegedly sick. We got a mother that ain't going to check on her. But she was so sick she couldn't go to school, but she could be out near the mall and out on the town. She was perfectly fine for that. The next day, they call in sick, but the mother never checked on her. How would Malaya know she's sick if she never saw the child that morning? Right? The call in the school. How did she didn't know Malaya? I mean, that Lily woke up feeling fine and was good to go to school. She just immediately knew to put them out of school. Like, there's something to it, and it has to be a situation to me where they both know, because allegedly, since Malaya's sister came out and gave that TikTok interview where she said that he was in the bathroom, they went into the bathroom after him and they found some 2 + 2 = Breaking Bad. If that's the case, that man ain't sleeping. People go up 3-4 days like it's nothing when they're doing them ups like that.
I was sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So my niece, Paige, she's been an addict and done it all since she's been about 15 years old. She'll actually be on the live with me tomorrow. Because I'm going to do a live so that people like myself who don't understand. But I specifically asked her, and I gave her the Daniel's kind of actions, and she said to me, it's either meth or crack. Because she said, well, what she said was that if it was injected, that's when you become a superhero, versus if you're doing it,
Yeah.
or whatever. So, and again, this is just in my opinion and speculation, but so let's say he was or whatever, right? He's totally, you guys, right? He almost died 2 times. Sorry, Daniel. I'm amazed it wasn't more, to be honest with you, but he almost died 2 times, got impaled. He's acting like he's this, bigger than life person that has taken care of Malaya, brought her to this palace of a home, that he's done everything for her. And you basically, it's almost like saying, you unappreciative person,
Yeah.
like, I've done this. I took care of Lily and Jack. I'm sitting out here, and he makes these weird comments that, like with almost like as if what happened when you make a comment that, and I'm going to keep searching for them if hell or high water till the end of the earth, to the end of times. I'm going to keep searching for them because I promised Malaya that I would always take care of her and Jack and Lily. Nobody says those type of things like, I'm going to keep searching, as if they're already past, and that you're going to keep searching to find out answers, as if God, I can't remember the exact words, but he said it twice.
There was no end to it. Like, I'll keep searching for the rest of my life. Like,
Yeah.
it's just an odd statement. And I'd also like to say, Dolly, and I'm not sure if you've talked about this on your channel before, but the RCMP, like in Canada, what you guys in the States would consider entrapment in an investigation, that's okay for Canada to do. We call it the Big Brother, right? They do this whole thing, and there are lots of videos and cases that have been solved, but it takes them time. And I wouldn't doubt if they've got something like that in the works. And I'm not saying they're trying to manipulate Daniel or anybody specifically, but they are investigating. And Canada just has a far-reaching, very strict Privacy Act. And the fact is, we never get information. We never do. It's either from leaks or after court cases are done that we find out what happened. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one now. With them not giving out any information, no transparency, and we done been months and no arrest been made, and some of the things they done seems like they waited weeks with no cadaver dogs. They waited weeks to even go look for video surveillance footage of trail cams and door cams. That's stuff that would have been done on day one here in the States.
Absolutely, Dolly.
You know, day one. That's rookie armchair sleuth detectives on YouTube would have knew to do that, right? I mean, we've seen that in Sebastian. Remember the light videos? We had private investigators going and getting the videos. Damn fake intelligence agencies. Damn old washed up bounty hunter. I mean, just all kinds of shit, right? Like, it's hard to believe that they didn't do that instantly, and especially the cadaver dogs.
We heard that
in their vehicles, you know, because I don't believe those kids walked away. And I know from just what the RCMP said, they don't believe it either. Like, they give you a little clues in what they say, and that, you know, basically those kids ain't in the woods. And the reason they didn't issue an Amber Alert is because there's been no abduction. So if there's no kids in the woods and there's no abduction, it only leaves a couple sources, and that's the family.
Yeah. Yesterday we had Susan on our live from Hidden in the Fog. That's the one that has interviewed Haley, Cheryl, and Logan. And so she had a conversation, and she had shared this with me, and she shared it yesterday for the first time on the live. Not that she was trying to hide it, but just meaning she felt like, why not talk about it yesterday? And so she had a conversation with, I think it's some corporal, a guy that had called her, and basically said something about, the tip line. And anyways, bottom line was, he said, basically there's two scenarios. It's either the kids are in the wood or it's criminal. So yeah, simple as that, right?
And I think they did a good job of searching the woods. They had hundreds of people out there, you know, drones, helicopters. And if their story is accurate and them kids only had a 30-minute head start, even a 2-hour head start, let's just say they went missing at 8, but 10 o'clock they called the police, how far could they have gotten that little amount of time? And the thing about this, once it got dark, them kids would have been crying. They would have been making noise. And, you know, when you live in the middle of nowhere, you could hear everything. You know, you would have heard those kids in the woods. And they're out there searching with flare technology, infrared technology, which could spot you like you glow in the dark. And nothing. So I truly don't believe those kids are out there. I know the lady that runs the search party out there believes the kids are in the woods. She said that. She said, I believe the kids are in the woods. Yeah. They could have crawled under something. They could have got, you know, felt. Yeah, and they could be out there. I don't buy that.
To be fair, it's her job to believe that the kids are out there. She's the lead of that professional search and rescue team. Mm-hmm. So it's her job to portray to the public that, no, we're not wasting our time. Of course, I believe the kids are in there. But that interview was also recorded a couple of weeks before it was aired. And I think it was right after the last search that they did. And it was still very much open to a new search down the road.
I'll be right back. Sorry.
I don't think that at this point, I don't think anybody believes that the kids are in the woods. They had 175 professional searchers go through those woods for 5 solid days and found nothing.
Yeah.
They're not in the woods.
And there's a lot of people out there, I believe, that are putting out misinformation for clicks and views here on YouTube. I clicked onto a video the night before last, and it was somebody saying that the police have determined that the boot print wasn't Jack's or Lily's, that it came from a boot that was a pipeline worker, and there's only 50 people in Nova Scotia that bought this pair of boots. Have y'all heard that?
No. It sounds like a bunch of crap to be
borderline ridiculous.
What, this size to this size or this, you know? Really?
I thought it was ridiculous too. I'm just saying that, you know, when people start putting out this information that's not true, and you hear it and they're putting it out as it's factual, right? It's on YouTube. And I was thinking, they said that Malaya wrote a note to her lawyer, and it said that this is the first real clue, and the RCMP is on the right track. Right, but the boot was a Cortez boot, and it's only so many people bought. And I was just thinking, this person has made this shit up on YouTube and for clicks and views, because I hadn't heard nothing like that. until I seen this video the night before last. And I was like, this person's just completely making this up. It had a statement from Daniel and it had a statement from Malaya. And what made me think it was a lie was there was a statement from Malaya. I was like, Malaya ain't saying shit to nobody.
Okay.
So, but
I think the only extra that we got from Malaya, and I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, Sonny, but wasn't it the text between Belinda and Malaya? And that's literally the only other communication anybody's had with her in public.
Yeah. And she said something that was strange to me in those texts. She said Daniel's not out there looking for her kids. He don't care about her kids. At the same time, she's not out there looking for her kids. Why would she, like it's his responsibility to find your kids? You know, I found that a little weird too.
I think that was sarcasm, to be honest with you. I think that was sarcasm. I think that was sarcasm to reference the fact that she knows that Daniel did something. And that was like, well, why don't you care so much what people think? Why aren't you out searching for my kids? And I think that was actually sarcasm, to be honest with you, when that was said. Now, the reason why I say that is because I heard Mike Damon say that. And I was like, you know what? Let me go back and read that. And then I'm thinking, you know what? I bet you that money, or that is that she knows that it's, like I said, I think it was sarcasm. I don't know for sure, but I guess you could take it either way, because I thought to myself, that is ridiculous. Like, why would she even say something like that? Like, look for my kids. And because, you know, that's not really a normal statement that a mother would say, really, in the essence of this case going on. And so I almost do think that she was being sarcastic in that comment. It's like they take little digs at each other. He has his digs, you know, then she has her digs about the whole, because the second time that we put posts out from Belinda from Malaya, that was well, at the time, that was literally 2 days before a live that, you know, she was talking about, you know, that part of it, I believe, was in that one, you know. So yeah, that was only a couple days prior to that. I'm getting them mixed up in my head about, because the first time we put it out, it was about the May 2nd, the day that it happened. And then the second time was about the Temu account.
Yeah, where she said he was trying to steal from her debit card, but on the Temu stuff.
But I do want to correct something, because I saw Kent say it, and I do want to correct this as well. They did find cameras. If you listen to the scanner radio there, they did find cameras within that search on that day. It was only like, it was a week later that's when they expanded it. And then it was that, you know, that lady, whatever, something Scott, that had those 7 cameras. So meaning there was trail cams that were already found during that search, because you can hear that on the scanner radio, but it's just that they didn't go out as far as they did. Now, I still agree that they should have probably had those sooner than what they did, for sure.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Now, as far as the stepsister coming out saying, you know, the whole thing about the family fight, she said, I'm going to tell you what the fight was over. We found the Bam Bam in the bathroom and everybody started fighting over that situation. Do y'all believe that is true? Or is this another narrative that's being pushed from this side, like we're getting narratives pushed from the other side?
I believe it's true. What about you, Charmaine?
I believe pieces of it are probably true, probably accurate from her point of view, but then she backtracked, or I shouldn't say that, she clarified that she didn't actually see the Bam Bam.
Yeah, she said we went to investigate, but then she did backtrack on that and then clarified, or no, I don't think she actually clarified, but she basically was saying the word we, and a lot of people felt like she retracted. So she did, because she did say that, if you listen to what she said, but I don't think it was actually her that actually saw it, like she said, and that's kind of why she didn't really answer back to that. But the bottom line of it was that, you know, in that interview, Dolly, it was a clear agenda that Haley had. You could see. It wasn't based around Jack and Lily per se. She wanted to get to that particular point. That's why she wanted to speak.
Yeah.
Wanted to let you know about this.
Because she wasn't even asked. I remember she wasn't even asked. She said, I want to clear this up. I want to tell you this.
Yeah.
and what the family fight was about. So yeah, she wanted to get that out for sure, because that's a pretty damaging thing, especially when we got missing kids and we got somebody allegedly that's been doing this for over 2 years. So my thing is this: is what is the odds that he is doing these things? Is she sitting around watching him do it and not doing it with him? Because we always heard birds of the same feather stick together, but maybe in Canada it's gooses of the same feather stick together. I don't know.
I like to call them cobra chickens. They're really mean.
Cobra chickens?
Yeah, they're really mean. They're dangerous.
Okay, because I know them gooses like to stick together. I see them all the time crossing the streets here in America. You can have the gooses back, or geese. Okay, geese. But do you think she may possibly be doing narcotics with them?
I do.
Oh yeah. But let's face it, that whole story that Haley came out with, it was successful in changing the narrative. Like, even I started wondering, even little things like, why was Janie filling that pothole in the night before? That's odd. And you start putting these little puzzle pieces together, and now I've got a whole new scenario in my head. So she was successful, I think, in changing the narrative direction out here.
So we know Jamie had a shovel and not a gun, like Aerosmith said.
Right.
And the thing about this is, how do we know she was filling in a pothole and she might not have had that shovel for something else? Because all we know is we got a missing kid. We got a lady with a shovel that don't want nobody going in her Breaking Bad meth lab, right? It's all, we got inconsistent statements from everybody basically at that house.
Mm-hmm. But you know what gets me about this pothole is that when Daniel talks about the pothole, he says it's about 10 feet in the backyard, and he's talking about near his mom's trailer. And now there's this video going around of this big, massive pothole at the front of the driveway. And it's kind of like, that's not still what Daniel said. The pothole was where his mom's trailer was, about the pothole. So I don't know where this whole, because this person was filming and there in front of Daniel's and Janie's yard there. And all of a sudden they start capturing this big pothole. And now this pothole is, I think, being the one that's being told that it's as if that's the pothole. It's like huge. But Daniel never said anything. He said it's 10 feet about in the backyard, meaning towards Janie's trailer there. So
where she parked. But I mean, that just opens more questions for me, because then the whole narrative that Malaya was at the road and she had Meadow and she had just put the kids in the vehicle and she didn't know Janie was home. So where's Janie's car?
I guess the blueprint there too.
You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much that doesn't make sense in that entire narrative. No matter how much information they keep plugging in to fill the gaps, it just leaves more questions and more gaps. And that's why I think Daniel keeps going into these chats and answering select questions, but he's not doing himself any favors, because he's just creating more gaps.
Yeah. And who fills potholes at night?
Janie.
Yeah. I mean, apparently so. Like, I'm bored. I think I'll go outside at night and fill this damn pothole in a mosquito infested. Yeah. I don't know. Y'all got a lot of mosquitoes there?
Yes, we do.
Let's put our drugs in there. Let's just, come on now. Come on, pothole. And
I mean, totally possible that, things were cleaned up and put into a little baggie, and the baggie was put into the pothole. That's why I keep telling people, check the pothole. Check the pothole.
Yes.
So,
those cadaver dogs.
Yeah, so I mean, apparently there don't seem to be no signs of foul play in the house, right? Because they said they had the police in the house. They searched the house thoroughly underneath the house.
Cadaver.
No cadaver dogs.
But not with cadaver Dolly. We know in the United States, that's the first thing that's really, the cadaver dogs are there right away. To me, that was, I don't even believe that they have had a cadaver dog. But regardless, we know that when we follow, because most of our cases we follow are in the United States, of course. And we know that the cadaver dogs, like you said earlier, are one of the first ones on the scene. Like within the first day or two, the cadaver dogs are there. Yeah,
and I learned here recently that them dogs can pick you up moments after your death.
15 minutes.
Right? Just moments after your death, these dogs can sniff you out and tell that there's been something dead there. Now, I think they should have done this in, of course, their cars, the house. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking this: if you're in an area that's isolated, and you do have, let's say, a body, you're not going to take it somewhere that's populated. You're going to take it somewhere that you're familiar with. Usually, that's any serial killer or anybody.
Sawmill.
They usually dump bodies in areas that they're familiar with.
Sawmill.
And what do you say, summer?
Sawmill, perhaps.
Oh, sawmill. Yeah, that it's somewhere they would have known. And, you know, they've been driving these four-wheelers through the woods to these cabins and different things like that. And I just feel like maybe the shovel was there because they buried something.
South, honestly, Dolly, it's just, it's a bunch of nonsense. It doesn't make sense. It's a bunch of nonsense. I think anyone can, like, really, honestly, any logical thinking person here can logically understand that, you know, bullshit. A lot of bullshit's going on. A lot of lies, mistruths, fabrications, and it's just a cover up to me. And it's just a matter of when that's going to happen. You know, when they uncover. Back to the hidden thing. Everyone can have their own opinion on that. It's just, you guys, it's just not the logical thing that happens. We could have understood it if she took the kids and gave them to her mom or her cousin or something like that. And then she was like, look, I just did this to get away from Daniel. You know, I'm so sorry that I created this commotion. That should have happened within the first day, 2 days.
Yeah, because it's not against the law to hide your kids. It's against the law to lie to the authorities.
Yeah. And can I just say one thing? I know this is just off topic. Yes. So I got an hour left because it is my 10-year anniversary today with my husband. A lot of people were saying happy anniversary to me. So thank you guys so much.
Happy anniversary.
Casino and fish and chips at the restaurant right beside the casino. So I got like an hour left myself. Okay.
Okay. Well, I won't keep you too much longer.
No. Well, however long you want till. You got an hour anyway with me. I love it. Thanks, Dolly. Again, thanks for doing that.
There was something that you was telling me right before we started, and I said, wait until we start, and then you can tell me, because I no need to tell me now. You can tell me and the world at the exact same time. Well, sure. I don't remember what you was going to tell me now.
Yeah, it was about the chief. Charmaine, go ahead.
Oh, the chief.
You know it better than I did. That's why
I do. Well, Belinda's in chat, so I'm kind of glad about that. So okay, so apparently Belinda called the Micmac chief, and I'm not sure if it was a voice message or not, but she asked straight up, basically, do you have my grandchildren hidden there or keeping them there or whatever? And the chief, you've got the screenshot, Sonny. I don't, but you can read it word for word. But the chief basically blasted her for being racist and prejudiced. And I don't think there was a denial in there, but it was more like, how dare you ask? But now today I'm hearing that perhaps the chief didn't realize that Belinda was the grandmother. But still hasn't put. But this chief put it on her Facebook page with Belinda's phone number on it.
Wow.
Honestly. So this is the same reservation that, of course, where Malaya supposedly has an apartment. So it is where her family, right? It's the Glasgow one. So I'm not going to, the chief's name is Michelle on there. But anyways, so this has been talked about that. But for her, literally, so Belinda, of course, like I said, right, she just wants to know what happened to Jack and Lily. You think regardless, this has nothing to do about race or saying the word Native versus First Nation. This is about 2 children that are missing. And she blasted it on her Facebook. And honestly, like, who does something like that? Like, you're a chief. I'm sorry. And then you literally put this on your Facebook.
I never knew they had female chiefs.
Oh, you know what? So in this case, she was the first female chief of the reservation, because I was actually reading about her, and she's actually the first female chief. Her dad was a chief for a long time. Her brother is, of course, is the lawyer, because her last name is like the McDonald, and then her brother. But anyway, so she is the first female chief. And so, Belinda basically, after these kind of ignorant comments, and Belinda basically blasted her back, and it was fair play, because how did it turn political? Why would a chief put this on their Facebook? This was a private conversation, and she literally put out her phone number and everything like that. It's still up there, Dolly. Like, you can still see it. It has all the messages.
I get it if she didn't know Belinda was the grandma and she's thinking, okay, well, they're attacking us because they believe we're bad people, right?
She didn't know. I don't believe
yeah, it's kind of hard to think anybody that's been following this case, I'm an idiot and I know that's the grandma, so hopefully that lady ain't as dumb as me. That's the chief of the reservation, or we got problems real, and that ain't being racist, that's being truthful. Okay, that's like, damn, I even knew.
It almost came to me like, I feel like obviously there's a way to be really kind, and I believe that she does know Belinda is the grandmother myself, because honestly, Malaya Brooks' family, and including Malaya probably, but the family lives on that reservation, right? Reserve, whatever you want to call it, reservation, but they live on there. So there was people that left comments, about, it's like Selena Brooks, which is Malaya's, whatever she is to Malaya. She had spoke out one time on a Facebook thing, and she, and it's like, how disrespectful and rude and stuff like that on there. But yeah, so I don't believe for 1 second that that Michelle doesn't know who this is. But the thing was, why are you turning it to a racism thing about race being racist because of the word native being used instead of First Nation? There's a girl that comes in my channel all the time. Her name is Native Girl. She's indigenous. So, but it was I feel like maybe Michelle was offended for the fact that Belinda would even think that these children are being hidden. I almost think that that's how it seemed like. And then it's kind of like, if somebody comes on the attack at you, in a sense, or that's how and then you get triggered by that thing. I think she was triggered myself just by the fact that we would ever hide children,
Yeah, and we don't know how much hate either, though, in her defense, that she's been getting from other people because of Durwood and Daniel running this narrative that these kids are on the reservation. So how many other people have hit her up and been like, you got Jack and Lily, you're hiding these kids? Because there's a lot of people, even in my chat room, that believe these kids are hidden on a reservation somewhere.
Yeah, I don't.
So I think I wouldn't. I don't see why she got so offended with the grandmother asking her, because if I was a parent and I had, hey, y'all hide my kid, I'm curious, because people are saying this. This ain't like it's not being said. It's definitely being said. And I'm curious if y'all have something to do with this, if these rumors are true.
Right.
You would think they would go, no, we wouldn't do something like that. We wish you the best, and we're praying that these kids are fine. You would think they would answer respectfully, but like I said, we don't know how much heat they got before Belinda hit them up.
She just answered actually in your live chat, in your chat there, Dolly. Belinda just answered to the question. She goes, she knew who I was. I just saw it. Let me just look at
well, then that's absolutely horrible. That's just so disrespectful. That
and it's still up. It's still up, and her phone number at any time Belinda posts in there, her comments are deleted.
702 Dolly. 702. Yeah, Belinda says she knew who I was and she has still not taken it down. But any comments I make, they are blocked. Oh, I've seen. So
is this in a group? Is this in a Facebook group or?
No, it's on her Facebook page, Michelle Glasgow.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
wow. I have to take a look at that. That's pretty. Yeah.
She attacked Cindy B pretty bad in there as well, or was very. Let me put it this way, Cindy B, who I see in a lot of chat rooms, and she's messaged me as well. I mean, even the ignorance of her messages are truly. I'm sorry, guys, but they're ignorant. And it's like, this isn't a joke. This is about two children.
And you know the thing about this, in 2025, when people pull the race card, I always think they're the racist one. Why would you even bring it up? Right? Why would you even bring it up? Why would you pull that card when the conversation has nothing to do with race whatsoever?
Correct.
Unless you're trying to play victim, like, whoa, me, like, and there's no need. Now listen, the natives, I can only speak for America. They have had a hard time in this country. I understand it, right? I get it. They've had it rough, people taking their land and, pushing them into small areas and, just feeding drugs in their community. And it's bad for them. It's especially in America. I feel bad for all Native Americans in America. I can understand it. I don't really know so much about Canada and how people were treated in Canada. If it's the same, maybe they feel like they're being attacked for no reason. I'm not defending what they said because they should have never said that to the grandmother of two missing kids. They never. And I don't know how chiefs are you born into being a chief or are you elected chief? I just don't know how that works.
I think I was elected when I was reading about it that they're elected.
I think so too. I'm not even going to talk about it because I don't know the right terms for it, but there is a committee, and I think that the chief is elected. Tammy asked me to address Janie's comment. I wasn't aware Janie is here, and you guys, this chat is moving so fast. I'm trying to keep up, but if you wouldn't mind retyping her question, I have absolutely no problem addressing Janie's comment.
Janie or Jamie?
Janie. I don't know. I didn't see it. I tried scrolling, but this chat moves fast, Dolly. My gosh.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if we have a slow-mo on it at all. There's 2,100 people in the room, so there's a lot of people here with us tonight. And I don't think
it's fair that Sunny is she's just kind of telling a story about what happened and from a certain point of view. I don't think anybody intended that whole Belinda contacting the chief to turn into this racial
I don't see nothing wrong with it. I think she had every right to contact the chief. She's the damn grandma. Now, if I contacted the chief, that'd be a little weird. But that's the damn grandma of the kid. She's blood.
Right.
She has every fucking right to do that.
If she really took that much offense to it, it should have been more of course not, but how dare you? Something like that. Yeah. But some kind of denial. And then, like Derpy said, and then a moment for education. Just knowing that Belinda was going to take this information out to the masses, because that's all she was trying to do was shut down that narrative, literally.
Yeah.
Can I say something to this? Because Dolly, so I didn't even know Belinda had contacted the chief at all. I was literally watching Daphne's, like I said, Daphne's channel, and I was like, wait, why Belinda contacted and I thought it was a bunch of BS at first, right? So I typed to Belinda, I'm like, Belinda, did you talk to the chief or whatever? She's like, you bet I did. And so now I'm being accused that I must have pushed her to call the chief at all, and being McNastied out there for that on certain channels. But whatever. Bottom line is,
what does it matter if you told her that she has every right to call the chief? She has a right to call anybody she wants to call. It's her grandbabies.
Absolutely.
I'm like, damn.
So she should have been sensitive. The chief should have been sensitive to that. That's it. And this is all this is about for everyone that's in chat.
Why didn't had she ever come out and posted anything like, look, we're praying for Jack and Lily, and clear up the rumors herself that, hey, these kids are not on this reservation. People out here saying things that are not true. We wouldn't hide kids. Did she ever address anything like that? Yep. Or just she got that message and was like, I'm going to use this as the platform to be a rude, mean woman?
But she did that to Lana. She did that to Alana too. Alana's the one that held the vigil. And Michelle blasted Alana as well for the vigil for not getting asked permission. And then Alana, ended up in tears because she was just thought she was being nice by offering, hey, did you want, I'm holding this vigil, and was just reaching out in a nice way. And then again, Michelle did the same thing.
So since she didn't ask the First Nation,
Yeah,
they shunned her for doing something nice for the kids.
right. Basically.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about that. That's just,
We're talking about 2 children. That's it.
you may need a better chief. Okay. I always thought the natives were, sit down, smoke the peace pipe. Let's be peaceful and go lucky, happy kind of people. Mellow, right? Mellow. Like, to be so hateful to the biological grandmother it just blows my mind. And like, I don't even know what to say. I don't encourage anyone to go attack the chief or say mean things to the lady. I
That's
think
already happened.
it has it. I'm sure it has.
I'm sure it has.
But
Yeah.
she kind of brought that on herself with her behavior. You know what I'm saying? It's not, I don't know. I would think something from a chief would be like,
I know. I don't get that either. Whoops. Sorry.
Okay, I would think it would be more of something like epic and make you think, like intelligent. You know what I'm saying? Make you go, oh, I never thought of it that way. But I'm sorry to hear that happen to Belinda. Belinda, if you're out there, I'm sorry they treated you like that. You deserve better than that. And but I truly don't believe those kids are on the reservation anyway.
No.
So I wouldn't waste my time even trying to contact them. Malaya and Daniel are making up a story. And I mean, that's just my opinion. I have no proof of that, right? But in my opinion, I think the opinions of thousands of people watching, they believe that the parents have something to do with it. Okay, I just take a little poll real quick, guys in the chat. If you believe the parents have something to do with the disappearance of Jack and Lily, I want you to press 1 in the chat. If you believe they don't, press 2, and don't forget to hit the like on the video. It's about spreading awareness for these kids. The more people that see this video, the more people that know the story, just in case they are out there. The odds, listen, I'm going to speak statistically. Grandma, close your ears. If you're a family member, close your ears. Statistically, these kids are not with us anymore. Every day that goes by, the odds of them being found safely dramatically dwindle. Okay. And I tell people all the time, and this ain't joking, you got better chances of winning the lottery twice than these kids being found. You got better chances of being bit by a shark walking down the beach, not even in the water. Struck by lightning on a sunny day. It's horrible, but at some point you got to face the reality of the situation and switch gears to, hey, let's put pressure on RCMP to make an arrest or to do something. Because already I believe that there's criminal child neglect charges could easily be filed, because neglect is just simply not watching your child. And they clearly wasn't watching the children because they were sleeping in. So there was no adult supervision of these children. And to me, that is child neglect. Not only that, but the inconsistencies in what they've been saying online, Daniel especially, and what he told the police originally is different. So you already got lying to the authorities and criminal child neglect. That's enough to get them into jail so you can put some pressure on them, question them better, because Daniel said he was questioned only for 4 hours. In America, we take longer naps than that. Okay. 4 hours. That's it.
Thank you.
Right. We'll put you in a room for 3 days. You'll need some of that bam time we done questioning you, because we'll talk. These cops in America, you sitting there for 17, 18, 19 hours till you just like, F it, I'll confess to a crime I didn't even commit. And then you got Daniel over there talking about, yeah, they talked to me for 4 hours. Like it was a lot. That ain't nothing.
Daniel still says that they talked to him a lot more. I personally believe myself on that one, Dolly. And by the way, Belinda and I have had this conversation. So it's she doesn't need to close her ears because she doesn't believe that they're alive either. So we've had this conversation already, and she's well aware. And you obviously remember her interview
Yeah.
there. But I feel like, honestly, like, you know how, I mean, police, like I said, or the RCMP, whatever you want to call them. To me, I think that they're just baiting, in my opinion, that they're baiting Daniel in. I'm like, come on, let's just tell you stuff. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for, okay, let's, that's how I feel. I feel like truly that they're playing him. If he thinks that they're his best friends and stuff like that, I think he's sadly mistaken on that.
Yeah. And if they ain't watching, if they ain't suspecting him and Malaya, you definitely need better law enforcement in Canada. But I believe they're on to them. They just need more to make, a conviction or to actually lock it in. And, even Malaya saying that the police told her not to talk at all. That ain't what the RCMP said. They said, don't share no sensitive information with the media. And she made it out to be like she couldn't talk at all. Now, in any case I've ever covered, the police want you to talk. There was a case that I covered, the Michael Monkey Vaughn case out of Fruitland, Idaho. Young boy goes missing. The police believe he's dead. They even said he's dead. Okay. Now, the alleged person that they suspect is, I couldn't help but say mean things to him. Right. But then I was contacted and said, Dolly, listen, don't attack this guy, because if he shuts up, we need him to talk. We need him to talk. The more he talks, the less chances he got to walk. So the more he says, the more inconsistent statements come out, the more. So we need you to befriend him, be nice to him. And it hurts my soul, right? Because it's about these kids to me, right? Like, I'm more like, F this guy. But, I had to suck up to him, talk to him, keep him talking. And then, I'm turning this over to the authorities. Everything he's saying, I'm just turning over to the authorities for these people, because my initial was attack like a pit bull, right? Because I guess it's the parent in me. You piece of crap. And then, of course, the mother of this child is going through so many health problems that it is sad to even see. And, I've met her family. I flew out to Fruitland, Idaho, met them, sat with them, and they're such good people. To see somebody so horrible do something so nasty and still be walking free, it is horrible. And I'm still praying there's a arrest in that case. Yeah. So I just want justice, right? I ain't trying to be these people's friends or anything like that. I just want to see justice served and see these kids be put to rest in the place they belong, with people that actually love them and care about them.
Absolutely. So, Dolly, I want to ask you a question. So Darren said that he did his interview with CBC. Apparently Janie did hers yesterday. Took about 2 hours. Apparently they're going to mesh them together. So I'm curious with your viewers as well, if they're going to believe anything that, right? Because obviously Daniel said yesterday in our chat that Janie is going to tell a timeline. But again, this timeline has changed, you guys, from the beginning. So I'm just curious if you yourself, I take everything with a grain of salt and I just listen to it, see if it makes sense. But because there's been so many lies and mistruths, right, with this whole thing, the joke of this, Dolly, is, and this is my biggest pet peeve, is that we're talking about 2 children missing and these family members are playing games, right? They're playing games in chat, hiding behind a wall of Facebook and stuff like that. None of them will come up onto a live. They'll mess with the interviews and do that because that's more controlled. But they won't put themselves out at all. But yet they want to keep putting in their little peeps here and there. I got a problem with people that have knowledge, and yet we can't get the truth out of a timeline in 2 months and 9 days it's been, and we still can't get the truth out of a timeline. No.
Well, I didn't mean to cut you off, Charmaine.
No,
did you want to say something?
That's
sorry.
okay. I was going to point out, every time, you're completely right, Dolly. Every time that the family talks, whether they're lying or not, we get a little more information in law enforcement. we've all, well, not all, but a lot of us have confirmed with law enforcement that they do in fact have eyes and ears on all of social media. They are watching and listening to everything that's said, but they keep talking, but they know this, so they keep entering these chat rooms. So in one of the interviews recently, and I think it was a sit down one, Sonny, correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel said that he barely ever hears from investigators anymore.
Yes, that was his polygraph.
Once a week. And then last night he was in our chat saying he works with investigators directly multiple times per week now, answering questions and working out small details and also bringing in new evidence and helping explore new angles. Which one is it, Daniel? Like, do you talk to him once a week, or are you helping them with their investigation? But do you honestly believe that he's doing that? I don't.
Yeah, my take on this is if you lied to the authorities in the beginning and you're lying to the media, you're most likely lying to us too. Okay, like it's just the fact that if you can't believe what he's saying and he's been caught in multiple lies, how do we believe anything that his mother says either? Right? So my thing is this: I don't believe any of these people. None of them. I think all of them. The family knows what happened to these kids, and Malaya's mother is protecting Malaya. Daniel's mother is going to protect Daniel because that's the motherly instinct thing to do. So I don't believe absolutely any of them. And I think all signs point to them knowing what happened to these children. And I'm just waiting for an arrest. Like, and it wouldn't surprise me, it wouldn't surprise me. But I think if they don't put some pressure on them, and maybe that's why they're trying to contact Daniel and stay in contact with him so much and feeding him little things just to keep him talking.
Yeah.
Keep the relationship going, because Malaya's lawyered up. She's not, you got to talk to her lawyer. You can't even talk to her.
Yeah.
So the only connection they got is to Daniel. And I just don't think, even if Malaya did it, he ain't going to tell on Malaya. He's all heartbroken. And to me, he's more worried about getting Malaya back than he is those kids back. And that's just my opinion on that one.
Yeah. That's how I've seen it. It's like the drooling man that is more focused on getting Malaya back than Jack and Lily. He's portraying, anyways, I mean, bottom line, come on now. I mean, he's told enough lies now. He's not trustworthy. Janie's not trustworthy of information. Durwood isn't trustworthy of information. Like, when Durwood is repeating most of what he says by Janie and that. Now, don't get me wrong, because he has spoken to Cindy Murray. So when I say that, obviously we don't want to hear from Derwin, really. We want to hear from Janie. We want to hear from Daniel. We want to hear from Malaya. We want to hear from the people that were literally on that property. Perhaps Justin as well, but Darren, he's just repeating a lot of information, and he's believing in them, and that's his right to do so. But he has, things where he has talked to Cindy. So some of that stuff is, again, you take it with a grain of salt, you mush it all together and see what you get. But we shouldn't be playing these games, right? Family, because they owe it to Lily and Jack not to be doing this. But why are they doing this then? Because
that I don't know. I don't know what. I think Durwood's son hangs with Daniel, and Daniel is a little on the, the maybe doing drugs, and maybe his son is doing drugs with him. I don't know. I just think, birds of the same feather flock together. And maybe that's why he's pushing a narrative the way he is. And that I don't get. They definitely have some problems in their family, inner workings of their family, and they apparently none of them trust each other. So it's a crazy situation, and I just hope something breaks, sooner than later. And I know, like Charmaine was saying, that the Canadian police, they're not going to tell us nothing. They're real tight-lipped, and maybe we won't know until arrest comes and a prosecution happens what the true story is. But I still have a hard time believing it's anything else other than the mom and dad. Look, Sonny, Charmaine, I want to thank you guys for coming by tonight. Sonny ain't going to keep you much longer. I know it's your anniversary. I want to tell you happy anniversary, and you're more than welcome to come back anytime discuss the case. With the same with you, Charmaine. It was great talking with you tonight. You ladies have been doing an absolutely great job on covering this story, especially daily, keeping Jack and Lily's name out there, sleuthing for information. So, guys, if you're watching the chat, make sure you go over there, add, sub up, and like. It's a crime and shame. Okay, I even got y'all's name right that time.
I know we used to, because I don't know how many people get Charmaine's name wrong on there as well. Everybody, but yeah. But you know, Dolly, and can I say one last thing there? So, because like Kent Corbett, for instance, you know, he talks to Darren all the time. They're from this, like, Darren had known of Kent because of obviously living in the same area. So it's like I talked to Belinda, you know, Charmaine's talked to Daniel, Kent talks to Darren and stuff like that. And so it's just really important that, again, we just keep the momentum going. And obviously, again, if family's speaking, listen, regardless if you believe them or not.
Yeah. Don't shut them down. Let them talk. You know, just because you don't believe them, don't mean you got to be mean to them.
No, exactly.
So you ladies have a great night. You enjoy your anniversary, your fish and chip. And I hope you hit big at the casino. Charmaine, you have a great night as well. You girls be good. And it was great chatting with you guys.
All right. Take care. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. Bye, Dolly.
Peace. All right. So there you go. It's a crime and shame. Great channel. And like I said, even I go to them because they have scoops that I don't have. Some of them, they're close to certain people that I'm not. And, you know, when you follow these cases, you want to know every little detail, right? Especially when you're a true crime nerd, right? You want the scoop. I want to know it all, right? I'm just a nosy ass person. So I want the scoop. And, you know, like I said, this is about justice. It ain't about being Daniel's friend or Darren's friend or Malaya's friend. And I tell people all the time, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to see that these kids get justice. Not just Jack and Lily, but there's a lot of kids. And sometimes if you're too friendly with people, you start to side with them, right? And I don't do that. I try to stay neutral to the whole thing. And that's the only way you can be fair, because the only people I care about is Jack and Lily. They're the ones that deserve the answers. That's it. Right. And it's hard to believe that the chief talked to grandma like that. No, that's a little hard to believe. I thought they were a little more peaceful, you know, but it is what it is. And you guys out there, continue to share Jack and Lily's face. Okay. It's important to bring awareness to these kids. Let's just say we're wrong and these kids are still out there somewhere. It's important to get their face out there so people know. Very important. So don't stop sharing Jack and Lily's photo just because everybody thinks they're not with us. Because listen, I've been wrong before. It happens. It's very rare, very rare, but it happens. Not too much. Okay. I got a pretty good bat now.